Hello everyone and happy Friday. Before we share my analysis from these last few days, please remember that neither I nor the SIMETRI team from Crypto Briefing are licensed financial advisors. What we provide is not a personalized investment advice. It is merely our opinions based on our various research and diligence. As always, do your own research before making any decisions about buying or selling crypto. Let's have a look at the key technicals for Bitcoin. And at the moment, I think 16,000 looks like the key downside level. That looks like an area to me where the market could realistically go to if we saw a breakdown under maybe 18,000 or 17,600. The current monthly pivot point, bear in mind there'll be a new monthly pivot point tomorrow, but the current monthly pivot point is at 22,800. I'd say the current weekly pivot point is at 20,700. That's close to where we see the last rejection in the market. And again, for me, downside targets, if I had to really pinpoint them, I'd say the first downside target would be the yearly low around 17,600, and then obviously another target around 16,400 to be precise. Daily price closes below 19,891 is going to be a bearish signal if we continue to see weakness below that level, and that's because it's a 2018 former high, and I'm going to go into more detail in that in a moment as we go through the Bitcoin technical analysis section. So we're seeing that the rising wedge breakout that I spoke about last week hasn't completed, and as suspected, we've got the next leg lower, but this hasn't completed fully yet, and the completion will only take place around the 18,000 level at a very, very minimum. So this is why I'm bearish on the market. We could get another maybe double top around 21.5 or 22,000. I think that'd be a selling opportunity for the market, and we'd probably then start to move lower towards 18,000. If we have a look on the larger time frames here on a weekly chart, and we can see this very interesting falling wedge pattern. So the bottom of the wedge currently comes in at just around 10,000. So if you bear in mind that this is slipping week by week, I think a very interesting area for the market could be 9,000, and I think that's my new bearish target for the market for the year. If this is accurate, I don't see anywhere else to take the trend line from, but if this is what the trend line is suggesting, it seems very symmetrical and perfect to me at the moment. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point this year we move towards 9,000 US dollars. So that's my new bearish target for the market, and I'll try to find more evidence of why that could be the case later on. If you've been reading my daily emails, you'll note that we're at a very important time for the market at the moment. You can see that the 2017 high. So let's get some history around that and why it's so important for the market. And we can see that we weren't able to close the I think that would come in as the June monthly candle on the June collapse. We didn't close above there, so we got to push higher. So it's very important what we see on the price close today. And if we get a price close under 19,891.99, then I suspect that the market could roll over in a big way next month. So if we move underneath there, we're going to start to probably move into a much lower trading range. If we don't, then maybe we're going to see another month in September where we get some pretty lifeless range bound trading action, maybe between 20,000 and 22,500. So that would be my suspicion. But if we close underneath there, and bear in mind the bearish weekly close that we get, I think a lot of short positions would start to be initiated, even though the market is very short at the moment. Other interesting things to know would be long-term price divergence for Bitcoin. I just want to give some examples of what could happen and why there's still some nasty divergence out there in the market. So the divergence actually comes down towards the 9,000 level, which is very, very worrying. So we can see there the histograms are moving lower and price was moving higher from the 9,000 level on the daily time frame. So that's very worrying. And if we did see that monthly close that I mentioned, that maybe at some point this year we can see that totally reversed. Other interesting points to note here is that the dollar index, even though we've had this large range breakout here, we haven't yet we're just starting to test towards the yearly high. So if we start to get above there, we could probably get the next big move higher. And I'm looking at maybe seeing another maybe 600 point move in the dollar index, and that would indicate that probably we're going to see some more pain for crypto. And I'm judging that based on the size of this range break here. So that would take us towards this type of area here. And this trend line here, I find it very, very interesting because it's basically the point where the dollar broke down in, I think, 2003. So this could be a good area that the market heads back to, and that would also set up an interesting double top on the higher time frames as well. So that's the target of the range breakout. And if we get above maybe 109, watch out for a big move higher in the dollar, and that could translate to some Bitcoin weakness. So overall, for me now, I'm hoping that we're going to get a move down from that started really aggressively from 30,000 down to 12,000 or even 9,000. Those would be my longer term targets. Cannot discount a rally from current levels if the monthly candle does not close super bearish. A close under the 2017 high could cause a significant decline. MACD divergence is present on the higher time frames, as I showed you, as obviously takes time to reverse. The dollar index and the Nasdaq currently do not bode well for Bitcoin, so bear all those things in mind if you're considering buying any type of price dip. If we're looking at Ethereum now, I can clearly see that it's trading inside this price channel, and the price channel has got a target of $500. I'll supply some more evidence later on why I think Ethereum's going to 500, and also look at the bounce here that Ethereum has had from the former all-time high. Similar to Bitcoin, it bounced off there almost perfectly. So an interesting scenario we could see in September is where if Bitcoin closes below the 2018 high, and we see Ethereum closing above there into the merge, we could see maybe ETH BTC moving higher. So that could be a very, very interesting trade where one's had a slightly more positive close and one's had a much more negative close. So that could be a trade to watch out for. So this is really the market pivot point that I'm watching out for, maybe the 1,420 level. There is some evidence that Ethereum is eventually going to roll over, and I'd like to kind of provide it for you today. So first of all, you can see this negative price divergence, and this was one of the reasons why we went down to 900 during the summer. So that was completely reversed. But worrying still is that we've got more negative price divergence extending down to the $520 region for Ethereum, and I think there's a strong case to be made. If we broke under $900, we could be looking at a 520 Ethereum. Of course, it all depends on the merge and how the market takes it. But if we saw Bitcoin trading at 10,000 and the entire market heading lower, it wouldn't be a stretch of my imagination that we could see it trading towards those type of levels. Again, the technicals in the short term don't look great for Ethereum. We could see the head and shoulders pattern there. If that starts to break, then we could move down towards the target of easily 1,000, and I probably suspect we could get down towards $900 as well. So watch out for weakness underneath 500 as 1,500, as that could be the start of a down move. So overall, Ethereum looks bearish despite the merge upcoming. I would say watch out for the head and shoulders pattern as it's pointing to a drop towards $1,000. The negative divergence that I've outlaid a moment ago is hugely interesting. I think for me, and quite controversially, $500 remains more likely to me than 2,500 at this juncture. And thank you. I hope you found my thoughts helpful. If you'd like more, please click the subscribe button for Pro BTC Trader and join me every week on Wednesdays for our live trading war room and daily email updates.